How many of you have heard about the concept second brain or personal knowledge management, also known as PKMs? That's exactly what you need to understand in this fast-paced world to make sure you're not losing out any information. Without any further ado, let's get into this topic, which is our personal favorite. And the whole idea of Zupali lies around this second brain or personal knowledge management. Hello everyone, this is Kapil Reddy, founder and CEO of Zupali. Today we are going to talk about a topic called PKMs or second brain. Ideally, PKM means personal knowledge management. As the name suggests, it's all about managing your personal knowledge. For decades or even centuries together, we have accumulated a lot of knowledge. But where is it all going? We never know, right? We all have this habit of taking information at random places, which is not useful for us. The whole idea of PKM is to capture everything that you learn into one place. Ideally, we've been accumulating a lot of knowledge, but it's just being scattered across. So just imagine like if everything that you require is not in one place and it's all scattered across, it's not going to be effective, right? Same thing applies even to PKMs or your knowledge. If you just, because of the frictionless process we have right now, we're all trying to do things randomly and the result will also be random. And the fact remains true that 90% of what we learn today is something we forget within the next 1 week. So imagine all the information that you're losing out of your brain because you're not able to process it properly. And that's exactly what PKMs can actually help you with. The whole idea of PKM is like they just explain about the concept called second brain. Simply put, we have one brain. We have to use our brain to process the information, not to store the information. So right now, if you try to store too much of your information, your brain gets bloated. And there's no way you can process new information. The capacity of the brain comes down. The cognitive load increases. Because of all this, you're not able to process through and come up with innovative ideas. So that's why what you got to do is just have a digital space where you can store all the information and maybe have some key summaries or highlights which you can always refer and go back. And that's exactly what PKMs can help with. Do you think PKMs are a foolproof solution? Probably not. And that's what Zupali is going to help you. Zupali is trying to build the missing blocks around personal knowledge management or second brain. So just to give a brief about it, like the whole idea of knowledge or accumulating learning is all about curiosity. We are curious about things that are around us. We are curious about all new sorts of things. We do call professionals knowledge workers. Ideally, we are accumulating knowledge to put it into our work. And things have massively changed in the last 1 or 2 decades. Where ideally earlier, if let's say you had learned something from the past, it's usually sufficient for you to apply the same for several years together. So there was less focus on constantly learning or everyday learning. But now we all know that we are in a very fast-paced environment and there is a lot of information overload. To make sure we get the right opportunities to upskill on a daily basis, we need a proper system in place. And that's exactly what Zupali can help you with. So before all that, as I told, the problem with PKMs is it'll help you capture everything in one place and organize everything in one place. But what next? That's something we'll discuss going forward. So just to summarize in one line, PKM is nothing but you're capturing all the information which you have accumulated over time into one place. Earlier, we used to do it. We all write down things on a notebook. But imagine like you want to pick up a notebook which is 3-4 years old. It's very difficult and time consuming, right? And that's exactly the benefit of having everything in a digital workspace. And that's what PKM is all about. And because of this, there is a structure that can come into what all things you're trying to capture. But is having a structure enough for capturing all the information, or do we need something beyond that? What we need beyond is exactly what Zupali is trying to solve for. So let's discuss some basic benefits of having a PKM. And more than ever, trust me, it's very, very important to start this habit of second brain very early at this point. Better late than never, because as let's say if you're still in your early 20s or even 30s or even 40s, there is still probably a 10-20 year window where you can probably learn or process things. And PKMs can 100% help you to be more effective with your learnings. And that's why it's never too late. Just start it today. So the first benefit we can talk about is it reduces the cognitive load. As I discussed previously, our brain is not a dump yard for storing information. You need your brain to process. You need to free up. So that's why you need to have that digital space where you can put all that information which you have been accumulating into the digital space. So that's the first benefit. And again, it's not like learning happens through, let's say, courses or books, right? You probably meet a lot of new people. You go to places, you understand or you observe things around you. All this is part of your learning. And all this stems from the curiosity to learn new things. So all that information, rather than having them in scattered places, just make sure you get everything into one place. In this way, you'll reduce the cognitive load of trying to find out where exactly is that piece of information. And we've all been there, right? We all face this problem where we just don't know, and we just don't know where we've stored that particular information. Or when we want that at that particular time, we end up spending a lot of time searching than actually learning. And that's a huge waste of time. So in order to reduce that cognitive load, PKM can 100% help you. The second advantage is you can flex your intellectual muscles. Darwin, Edison, or name it, any of those scientists, they all had very detailed notes about their intellectual pursuits. Just imagine if you have access to the notes of Edison and Newton throughout their entire journey, how beautiful that would be. And that's exactly what Second Brain can help you with. And that's what we've been missing. As I told, they had these detailed notes on their intellectual pursuits, from which they could always retain some information. They were able to process some information to make sure they advance in their research or whatever it can be. And that is one advantage of having a PKM. So right now, let's break down 3 simple steps in which you can start off with a PKM. The first step is decide what you learn. In teaching, there's a lot of cognitive load for students because there are a lot of assignments, reading, everything, all of which happens at once. Because of that, they're not able to process more effectively. This leads to essential information going in different directions, and it's humanly not possible for you to do so many things at once. In order to make sure you separate the signal from noise or focus on one thing at a point to learn, make sure you're selective about what you want to learn. Again, the step 2, as I told, we've already emphasized on it, like you need to capture everything in one place. See, the medium is not very important. It's all about, are you able to capture everything in one place? Because right now, thanks to advancements of mobile phones or smartphones, there are a lot of frictionless processes they have added, because of which we are trying to take some action at that point, but it's not very effective. When you really want to get back to that piece of information, it's very, very difficult. And that's why you need to first make sure or prepare yourself mentally that you need to get everything organized in one place. Because as I told, we keep forgetting information, and you shouldn't store everything in your brain. You need to have everything put in one place so that you can go and process that information. And that is going to be very, very effective. The third step is process, curate, and repurpose. There's no point in dumping everything in one place and not taking any action on it, right? It's just like you're fooling yourself that you've learned something, but to be honest, you haven't learned anything. So for that reason, you need to go back to the information which you have collected over time and process some bits of it. Rewriting and repurposing the content which you have captured will actually help you retain for a longer time. It will also help you in such a way that the knowledge is not becoming stale, because if you're not even going there, obviously you're not even having any sense of that particular information, and it's all going to go stale over time. So there is also a concept called progressive summarization. So whenever you come across an article or a resource or a PDF, whatever it can be, make sure you highlight some key points and summarize what all you personally liked in that particular thing. In this way, you don't have to go back to the same source again and again. You can just summarize everything in one place. And going back to that, you can always refer to that summary quickly. Simply put, personal knowledge management is something which follows the principle of compounding. It takes time and effort before you see the final results. But consistently, if you keep following this process, eventually you'll become a superpower. And that's what Zupali can help you with. There are certain things, as I told, are missing in the PKM system, and that's exactly what Zupali can help you with. So always make sure you're playing the long game and think about the long-term results which you can get by following the simple PKM process. So just to conclude this video, as I told, I think we're just trying to introduce the concept of PKM or second brain. Yes, of course, some of you already know it, but there are a majority of people who still are clueless about this entire concept of PKM or second brain. And more than ever, we need to make sure we get into this habit, because it's like, simply put, it's like exercising for your muscles. But the muscles are your brain muscles, and you need to constantly keep sharpening it so that over time you can have that superpower of your entire learning. You can learn more topics at a relatively short pace of time, and you can use your brain to just process the information and not to store information. Again, as I told, the whole idea of Zupali is we want you to focus on the action part of the learning resources. Don't just capture and leave it there. We'll help you to take action on it. We'll try and bring a structure to your learning. Our simple motto is you focus on learning, rest of it will be taken care by us. That's it. So we will start doing a series on this going forward, where we'll give you finer nuances about this entire second brain and personal knowledge management, so that once you see the beauty of it, once you understand the potential of it, once you experience the power of it, trust me, you'll never go back to the regular way of doing things. And to make that process very seamless and completely frictionless, Zoopally is there right for you. So thank you so much. Until next time, always please give your feedback and do let us know if you want to cover anything, and you will always mail us or just comment on this video. Please do not forget to like, subscribe and comment on this video. Thank you so much. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.